Episode 1. Welcome, everybody. My name is Ben Levinchuk. You can call me Felix Strange. I'm bi and I'm single. This is the first episode of the podcast. I guess we're just going to call it the Felix experience. Today I just want to go over, a few things. But the main thing I want to talk about is a project that I, started working on this year, and it's a film project. So I knew when I was a kid growing up that I always wanted to make my own movies, and it started off me wanting to be in them, and I always saw myself in a picture. And decided, well, that's what I want to do, is either, become an actor, or what really happened was I started writing. I finally, ended up writing a lot of the stories that I had in my mind growing up in my teenage years through high school. All these stories that were in mind, but I had not put on paper. Eventually, there came a time where I just had like this writing spree, going nonstop, writing the first 3 of a trilogy. First was a time travel story, and then I started writing other sci-fi stories, but they were meant as for the screen. So I did start my writing for motion pictures, and that's the way I did my storytelling. And then I decided to write something that was completely different than what I had done before. I had written several stories where, honestly, there's about 7 or 8 of them before I got to the children's book, which I have published now, titled Puddlesville. And I figured I did want to write a children's story for the kids and everything. But I just, it was just waiting for the right inspiration and the right idea, for what is the story going to be. And so that's available now on Amazon. Anybody could check that out. It's been out since 2021. I've been trying to get my second book out since then, titled Midnight Injection. That one should be on its way, hopefully within the new year. I'm gonna push for hopefully the first month or 2, because it should be honestly done by then. It should have been done before then, but maybe some things don't always fall into place when you want them to, and it's because if you're not the one working on it and someone else is doing it for you, then you have to be patient. You have to have a lot of the capability to have patience to wait for another person to work on something that is that is yours, honestly, that you created, that just needs help from someone else. And so that's, I'm very blessed to not only have a publisher that is willing to print my stories, but someone that believes in me and knows that, hey, this guy's got a great imagination for storytelling. And I was inspired as a child when I was in school by a teacher, Mr. G, that told me, you should do something with your talents. This is what you should do when you're older. And so he really put that idea in my head, and it became a driving force for my creativity, and what to do with my free time. I would there were a lot of times growing up in school that I would have ideas for visual or a picture, and I would draw them down, and I had pretty good art and concept art for a lot of the stories that I came up with, and it's nice to still have all that. So basically what I'm doing now with these stories that I've written is I am transferring them and rewriting them or editing them as the original writer, to change them into not from written like a script, but into an actual novel. So I'm turning them into novels, into books, so that way, people can read it and they can have the drawings, those original artworks done by me, where they can see the images for themselves and say, oh, okay, this is, give them a sneak preview of what it actually looks like. Yeah, from the author and the illustrator himself. So yeah, I plan for probably all my books, or at least most of them, to have illustrations and drawings in them, done by me. So, just to follow in tradition, yes, with the first and the second book, because I do intend to have it in my next book, which will be, like I said, it's on its way. It's still in production, guys. So I know that that's something I'm looking forward to, but that's something that hasn't fully come to, full circle or been printed this year. So, I mean, it's good to have something to look forward to on the horizon, even though I would have loved to have had it out by this December, that's fine. All in good time, and good time for all things. So let's get on topic here. In terms of what I wanted to do this year, I mean, I had difficulties finding work or keeping my jobs. But I did land one that I'm working seasonal right now. And it's a very good opportunity for me. It's something that it's a place I've wanted to work before. And, that I have a vision and a goal of where I want to go. And that's what drove me into deciding to work on the film, honestly, was, I know that I had a rough year and everything, but I wasn't going to let that stop me from, going out and doing something that mattered to me. And one of the things that mattered to me, I mean, of course, was a job, but I wasn't getting any bites or anything. So, I wasn't getting hired except for once or twice, and then those didn't stick. So it drove me to have a lot of free time on my hands, and with the free time, I knew what I wanted to do was work on my motion picture called The Chiropractor. So, that was my main goal for this year, was to get cracking down on actually making something of my time, and knowing that, hey, this is the project that I started years before, and the project was canceled because the person helping me with the picture decided not to go along with helping me any further. So, and he didn't give me any further warning or notice. But you know what? I guess it was meant to be, because honestly, I was able to do those things on my own. So what I did was, the footage that we had captured before, which was only 3 days work, only a couple number of shots, or a few actually, but so what I had to do was just film those all over again and recapture, those moments in a and I did it honestly better than we did before. Now, there is a lot of blurriness and film grain that certain effects through the camera, you can tell in a way how it was shot. So this is not a very clear picture all the time, just so you know, guys. When you watch the film, you're going to see that it's absolutely and completely imperfect, and that's something that adds to the quality of it, that makes it more unique and more, priceless, honestly, because nothing can compare to a movie that is, like an independent film that is done in a way that looks like, wow, this, I wouldn't have it any other way. So I know that those things that make it the way it is, that's why I love it even more. So the experience of it all was just making it out, and going out and getting the shots that I wanted done, and actually, looking at each shot and saying, okay, did I get it? And then doing as many takes as, of course, that I needed until till I was satisfied. But yeah, a lot of the shots, honestly, they were done in one take, and it was amazing. Honestly, it's something that is, yeah, unforgettable, because of the fact that how often does something like that happen? You have a shot that you set up, and then you do this shot, and once you get the shot, it's only one take. It's kind of like, wow, now we don't have to do it again, and that's always, to me, kind of like a miracle, because there are several shots within the motion picture itself that is, they're miraculous shots, because there's one where a crow is cawing at the exact moment where I cross the street pressing the button, and you see my reflection behind of in the hotel door window, which is like a glass that's moving at the exact moment that I'm walking past it, and you see my reflection, and you can hear this bird going off. And there's also the fact that the main shot itself, where I'm walking down the alleyway at night by the Johnny Rockets, and putting on the disguise, is basically that's basically the main shot of the film. And when we started the shot, and I started walking toward the camera, you can hear the bells dinging in the distance, right behind me, where the light rail is just arriving off screen. And it's an iconic moment, not just because of what you can see as the visuals, but what you can hear before there's any music added. And I did add music now to the scene, but before adding the music at all, you hear these loud bells ringing from the train, and it's just an iconic, beautiful, almost an eerie sound that is a part of this film and making this film. And so every time that I hear that sound, and I go on the train and I hear those bells, it just reminds me of working on my film, and the experience I had on it this year, which was honestly the most fun I've had working on anything in my life. This is the most, of all the things I've worked on, I'm most proud of this, and I feel, like I said, grateful of the fact that I have a book out and another one coming out in the new year. But this film, even though I just did get started, and there's 7 minutes of the film so far, I knew that I wasn't gonna give up on this story. After my friend left the picture, and yeah, so I went back to just starting over, and going further, pushing beyond. How much can I get done of this film in this year? And honestly, I think I did as much as I possibly could. I had the story laid out already, but there were scenes, that I did this year. There were honestly scenes that weren't originally in the story. They weren't storyboarded. They weren't in the script. So I did rewrite and edit and work the script. So now the script is final for now. And the thing is, there were scenes that I filmed that were added scenes, that add more weight to the story and add more. It just brings more emotion to the story that you're adding these extra moments to a story that is already, got so many great, iconic moments. It's a very good story. The story itself, I'm not going to spoil it all for you, but it's about a guy who is posing as a chiropractor. He takes on a job as a chiropractor. He studies the practice, and then he ends up becoming one. But this is all as a disguise, as he has moved into a new city to get away from people from, his real job as a hitman. The story is about the last day of the hitman, named Mr. Charles, and he's a very interesting character, and somebody that, I want to be able to portray him as a little bit of myself, where it's like the part of me that is, the most, essentially the strongest version of myself. And that's what this character is. He's going through he's trying to get away from this job as a hitman, but it keeps coming after him, and so he's still got to deal with it. And eventually, his past catches up to him. So that's all I'm gonna say about the story. He knows that basically people are after him, and that he can't run away forever. So he's got a few things prepared to try and detach for the world that he set for himself for the last few months, and he wants to be able to try and set a new slate. And I guess his plan is honestly to move to another city again, or even move out of the country, but he doesn't get a chance to. So that's all I'm going to say for this story. But in terms of location, of course, I had in mind for the story itself for it to be in downtown, in my city. And I've always seen the architecture and the look of the buildings and the city itself, the lamp poles, the lights, and everything. Like I said, the train, and just the sounds of the city as well, like the bells of the train. All that, just being able to walk around in the city is just, it's grown on me, and it's a blessing I feel so, honored to be able to live in the city and actually film there, because of the fact that I knew I always wanted to film the picture here. And so I decided, hey, these shots that I want filmed here, all those shots I got done. There's still a lot to be done on the film, but I have a lot of location ideas in mind of where the shots should be filmed. And so yeah, I already know that this is where it's meant to be filmed, is downtown, and just to be able to walk around those places. To film down there is to film downtown is actually in the city is that's like the highlight of my day when I get to do that. And when I worked on my picture of this film this year, that was the highlight of the year, was being able to film downtown dressed in character as Mr. Charles and go out and film these scenes that are pieces of the finished product, the finished film. So I mean, I'm looking forward to getting back into character, getting back into Mr. Charles and his story for the chiropractor in the new year. Downtown in the city. So I'll be going back into filming, and I'll be hiring some people as, I need cast and crew. So I'll be finding, my team. So I plan on filming as I have this year, which is basically just setting up the shots and then doing the shots. And it's a low budget film. It's independent. And I like that grittiness of it. I like that guerrilla filmmaking, style. But yeah, like I said, I had a lot of fun this year filming. Just acting as the character, just becoming this completely different individual that is fictional, that has a backstory to it, and that's told through the flashbacks. While he's on the train, he has a lot of his memories come to mind, of what he's been through, what he's been a part of for the last year or so. So anyway, yeah, filming is fun. I love filming. I love working on the picture and being this character. I love being Mr. Charles and portraying him, someone that is... There's a dark side to Mr. Charles, and I don't really want to get into that. And I don't know if I want to get into that in the film, honestly. I mean, I could, integrate some of that into, his fighting and the way he takes some people out. But other than that, I don't think I want to touch too much on, the darker part of the character itself. So, now, editing is something that I also had fun with. I know how important it is to get the correct, shot and what time to begin and end each shot while editing to make the full scene. So, being able to put those together myself and see the film in order, even though there's a lot missing to it that hasn't been filmed yet. It's just wonderful. It's a delight to me to be able to say that I did this year, and I did have help with a new friend. Actually, he's an old friend of mine, but he's a new friend on this picture. So was able to capture the moment of the character walking down this alleyway, and that's honestly the shot of the film, if you ask me. But so yeah, editing is just getting everything in place and in the right order, and adding music as well. That's another thing that I've done this year is, honestly, I got back into making music. I made a few songs with lyrics, I made some songs after the assault that I had. I made a song out of it, which was one way to cope with it and just get through it, was to, make it entertaining, make it something that I can actually enjoy instead of feel terrible about every time, or, just to know that, hey, it's okay that you went through that, and, that you got, the fact is that you got through it. So anyway, but yeah, it's actually a good song. There's some good songs. I wrote one called Telephone, which is a very, probably one of my best work. And there have been a few that came out this year that I made as Felix Strange that are very entertaining songs. They're fun to listen to. But anyway, back to the film, which was trying to get a certain score and a musical sound for my picture. So I already had one musical piece that went along with the introduction scene, where Mr. Charles is getting ready and putting on his gloves, as you see for the first time in the film. Basically, I mean, I wanted music that was gonna fit each scene, and the way I made the music was just making the music by itself. I wasn't watching the film while adding the music, which would have been great. But yeah, that's another thing that was a miracle for this making of the film, which was making a song or two and then actually placing it at the right moment in the film, and it actually going along perfectly for the scene. So that's another thing that I'm very proud of, and actually, I don't know if that will ever happen again. It's just that it happens so well like that. But anyway, I just wanted to touch a little bit on what I worked on this year. And that was the greatest accomplishment that I've probably ever worked on, putting into place, actually taking it off of paper and putting it onto the screen. And that to me is some of the most fun that I will ever have and will have, because I do plan on getting back into production. I do plan on getting this film back, into filming. So I wanna get onto that as soon as possible. But it's gonna be something that I don't want to rush it. I want to get the right people. But I know that, as blessed as I was to make what I made this far, I know that God's got my back on this, And I just need to enjoy every moment as it comes along, honestly, as I have before. Like I said, I have enjoyed every moment of making this film, and of course I'm gonna make sure to see it all the way through. I want to keep my promise on this one. This is who I am now.